So let's see. I think that my microphone just already works. Oh, good. I'm glad to see some numbers on the screen, some people showing up. Thank you for being here. This is Let's Talk Tuesday and a live stream about where I'm at with my personal growth, what I'm focusing on this month. And it's something I call the Piece of Wellness. And it really has been not even kind of, it's really been miraculous to have my focus and to share that, incorporate it into my practice, incorporate it into my content, and sharing the journey that shows up is sometimes hard, sometimes or always magical at some point in the process. So before I start talking about this month's topic, which is Be the Change, and I'm going to talk a little bit about where that thought came from to make that the theme for this month, and then share a little bit about the growth. I want to talk about the events that are coming up. The community event that I'm offering is through my where my kids go to school, Candor Central School, so here in Candor, New York. I'm working with the Parent Teacher Student Association, and we're doing kind of like a wellness night, a self-care night, a little education for how to support anxiety, how to support the systems, and we're going to keep it nice and fun and light. That's going to be the 20th, so that's a Wednesday, and it's going to be an after-school activity. The time is still to be announced. So check the website, my website, alignwithsarah.com. It's open to the whole community. So anyone that wants to come is welcome to come. It is geared towards kids. It's geared towards families. So obviously keep that in mind. And then I have, let's see, we have group healing, that live stream, 9 o'clock in the morning on the 12th. That is also Instagram and YouTube. And we just do 15, 20 minutes of a group healing session. Just sort of, I go through a little sample of what a restorative healing session is like. And again, that is Tuesday the 12th at 9 a.m. And then let's see, I'm doing the anxiety support class, workshop, whatever you want to call it, Taming the Dragon of Anxiety. That's going to be the 24th. It's $20 to attend. We're together for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's a Zoom meeting. So it's super easy to attend. It's very enlightening, very light. We go through a lot of information, depending on who's shown up. Somebody that's been there for a while will incorporate something new. New faces, we talk about some content that is kind of like the oldies but goodies. So all of that is up on the website, alignwithsarah.com, over on the events page. And I have a dog that's getting excited, but okay. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about being the change. I think it's advice that is given by people that don't necessarily have experience in the process. I think there's a lot more to it than advice that's given a lot by coaches, like life coaches. I mean, but when I say coaches, of like, you want to be rich, well then just like pretend you're rich, just like do things that rich people do. Just change your mindset. Just change your threshold of money, like what feels like not enough, whatever. I feel like there's something to that, but I think it's more about how you feel. And sometimes it's very hard to just like throw that away. I mean, especially when we have these limiting beliefs, we have these foundational thinking, these pieces of foundational thinking that are the basis of, what we've grown with for decades, possibly our whole life. So I love giving my examples of things with my life. So this month's theme came about with that whole thought of like, be the change. Because I had this really like earth-shattering, life-changing, like ridiculousness in my life. And when I had made my vision board with only one thing on it. I have 10,000 things cut out. Actually, these are things that are waiting to go on there. There's a lot, but this is how things go here. In the middle of my vision board, which is over there, I have this feeling, this experience that something that Louise Hay would say. And it is advice with people that are struggling with having some sort of support in their life or some sort of, I guess support is the best word I can think of right now. And she would say, every day, hundreds of times a day, I say, everything in my life supports me. And it is this like fact. I remember watching, I think she was like on Oprah, and she was talking about this in the 90s. I wasn't watching it in the 90s. I was watching a YouTube video of it. And I thought, oh my God, that is going to be so nice to be able to say that everything in my life supports me. And, then that's going to be my goal. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to focus on creating this thing where everything in my life supports me. And so I was already for years, for a long time, we can maybe even talk about decades, really aware that I had no support in my life. And when I say no support, the very few sprinkles of people in my life were doing the best they could, but I was probably asking them to do things that they were not capable of. And then on top of that, adding to my frustration. But here we are, here I am. Kids are all grown up. I'm all grown up. Everybody's fine. So knowing that I have no support in my life, I started to shift gears and like ask people, like, why aren't you supporting me? Why aren't you this? Why aren't you that? And then through what I was doing, through my personal growth, through my personal development, I start hearing, noticing, listening, and shifting. And so, okay, that's not working. Just noticing my own complaining about no support isn't working. And then like pointing to people and saying like, why aren't you supporting me? That was not working. So shifting again. I came to a place where I was like, you know what? This is what it's like to support me. This is what support feels like to me. This is what support looks like to me. This is how I see, potentially you can offer some support to me. And it really changed my dynamic with those sprinkles of people in my life. And some of them, it was for the better. And some of them, like, it was like I set them on fire and they like ran away screaming. And, that just is what it is. And I noticed that was like the first helpful switch, the first helpful thing that happened, where I could then also see where like, okay, I'm starting to like, I see that I was not being the change that I wanted. And instead of shuffling things around, I was really coming into this place of like, oh yeah, this is what I need. And then also the self-worth, the self-value, growing that and connecting to the confidence, showing up with faith that I deserve that I deserve to say X, Y, or Z. These things are important to me. These are things that I need. I can't be doing all these things by myself. And I noticed how my effort shifted from, shuffling these pieces and then just being like, okay, these don't fit. These don't work. And then coming to this place, the beginning of this year, well, the end of 2023, we had our vision board workshop, and I decided to redo my vision board. I brought home some pictures that I loved from our workshop that other people were using and that I had found when we were looking for pictures for other people, when I was looking for pictures for other people. And then I gathered some more. I made a plan for my layout. I'm definitely like a planner. And then what had come together, it was almost like instantly when I put this on the paper, everything in my life supports me. The things that were not in my life, or the things that were in my life that were not supporting me, there was this very defined threshold where they were gone. There was no other question about it. And it becomes this place of new learning where now even things that are hard when they show up, it is this reminder that everything in my life is here to support me. Everything in my life supports me. How is this supporting me? What is the perspective I want to bring into this? And I want to be the change that I want to see. I want to be supportive to myself. I want to be supportive to my dreams, whatever they are, financial, recreational, like vacations and time with my kids. I want to be investing in finding, everything in my life supports me. Everything in my life supports my goals. And how do I want to show up? Do I want to show up in a place of victimhood, or a place of longing, in a place of longing, where that sets me up for this thread of thinking of not for me? There's the haves and the have-nots. That's what I grew up with. That was one of my foundational pieces of advice that I was raised with, that there's haves and have-nots, and we are have-nots. And coming from a place of like hopelessness, or even and longing, hopelessness, helplessness, longing, and even really like staying connected to things like rejection or abandonment, where they're going to be part of this train, part of this emotional train that we can get on, that is most likely not on a destination to any sort of productive goal, or any sort of beautiful growth into everything in my life supports me. The stuff that is old, the stuff that is new, everything in my life supports me. And I think it's this thought now of like, I feel like it was like I was like in the audience, like up and like the last row for when Louise Hay was saying this. Everything in my life supports me. And, of course, she's like looking at herself and like her little like heart mirror. Everything in my life supports me. I'm going to put a little heart over my face right now. I can't even do it. Everything in my life supports me. And so I feel like when I first heard her say that, like I was like way up there, like way up in the nosebleed section, but just like catching a little bit of it, just catching, like, I want to be there someday. And now when I say everything in my life supports me, I feel the alignment. I feel like I could be up there on the stage with her and saying, even though it kind of sucks right now, even though I can like feel these twinges of like, of a loneliness or like, the pain of like big changes in my life, I can say this. I can say everything in my life supports me. And there is this confidence behind it. And there is this strength that makes me feel like it's very much this place where I'm at. It's and a place where I'm going, continuing to grow that, continuing to add things to my life that support me. There is a process of things sloughing off, but then there's also this process of growth as well, and adding more things in. So clearing, I had been working on my personal journey very actively for over 20 years, and I would say somewhere like 8-ish years ago is when I started working with Dr. Bradley Nelson and training, using myself, training to become a certified emotion code practitioner, a certified code practitioner, and all the other stuff that I've learned, the Reiki stuff, the Chinese medicine stuff, the overall listening in the body, right now I'm focusing on learning cranial sacral stuff, and just the gentleness of the body, the gentleness of approaching the body with this understanding that these little things affect so much. Cranial sacral is this sacred, it feels like, experience of listening to the body on this level of the pulse of the cerebral spinal fluid, which is really the manna of life, the pure existence of our being, because so much of that personality, personal reality, what we live every day comes from our brain, and the fuel for the brain is cerebral spinal fluid. So learning all of these things, even a year ago, I was not in a place to say everything in my life supports me. It would sound different. It would feel different for me to say it. It would be a different result. We do this and this is the point of what I was just starting to say. When I was training with Dr. Nelson, he did this example of how we can align with, we were actually doing financial goals, and someone had given a number of like, yeah, this is my goal. My goal is $8,000 a month. And so the muscle testing, so this person would be muscle tested, and the muscle testing is like that arm that extends out, and you push on down on that. And also we were just also doing remote testing as well to see how aligned that person was with that financial goal. And it was so interesting for someone to go like, say I could make, $12,000 a week, and, the arm is weak. We remove some limiting beliefs. We remove some trapped emotions, trapped trauma, and then that number increases. And then that likelihood of that person to resonate with allowing, not even, I do believe in the law of attraction, but I believe it's more of a law of allowing, and believing that we deserve the thing that we're asking for, to have that come into their life. It was really, really amazing. And so for me to like be muscle tested with everything in my life supports me, I feel like it would have been like a 0% even like a year ago. And now, I would bet that it's, in the 90s, high 90s, even maybe 100. And that sets me up for this, to be in this position where I'm aware of, like I have like a spidey sense of like, that does not feel like that supports me. Or this does feel like it supports me. This does align with what I'm feeling, what I want in my life, my goals. And so moving forward feels different. There's less doubt in my mind about, like maybe I can have this person, and then I can like teach them this thing, and then they can like help me, and then like, 6 months later we might be, no, this doesn't, everything in my life supports me. And then there's this new threshold that I feel very confident about. So that's where the theme for this month came from, the being the change. It's not always, that straightforward path of being aware of the thing that you don't want. And I talk about this a lot, being aware of the thing we don't want, and then the journey of being able to actually like ask for it, or believe that we're worth asking for it. There's a whole lot of pieces that come together to be in a place where this is what I want. And I feel like the most common thing that I talk to people about with restorative healing is that focus on what it is that we want, where we can, that 99% of the energy is focused on the thing we don't want. And it leaves this 1%, this little tiny, tiny little flake of the rest of our energy. And we think that that's what's going to grow over there on the side, which it might be, but it's definitely a better effort if 99% of your focus is on what you want. I see some stuff over here. I don't see any chatting in the Facebook thing, so I'm going to see. I see Christina, you're over here. Oh, I'm glad that you love this. Loving relationships. It is so interesting. The heart knows, even when things are not working for us, our comfort zone is not our high functioning zone. We know how to be treated like shit. We know how to doubt the person that we're with. We know how to try to inspire someone to be a better person. We know how to, that's our comfort zone. Our comfort zone does not mean it's our high functioning zone. The comfort zone is we know what we know, and then we realize at some point we only know what we know. Oh, Melissa, hi. It's nice to see you here. So we only know, and that's across the board, always, no matter what. This person on the other end of the relationship, they only know what they know. And unless they want to know something else, they're not going to. We can be trying to teach whatever, we can be trying to guide, but until that person wants to, they will not. If he wanted to, he would have. If he wanted to, he probably already has. That goes for good, that goes for bad. If he wanted to, he would have. So, exactly, that questioning. And it's really interesting to sit with that, with what Christina is saying, with kind of like what we can be aware of in our brain, but then it's really like it, and to me, this is a self-worth thing. And then it also shows about the integrity of the trust, of saying, and that was my journey of like, these are the things I need to feel supported. And then that's it. And of course, they weren't things that like I was, things that were up to me to keep doing, which they're still on my plate. They always have been on my plate. And that awareness and that voice is really an incredible thing. And I think you've probably already had these experiences where you are, let's see, learning something. I mean, and a lot of times we can talk about like the car, but I'm going to skip that. I'm going to think of a better example. I am going to think of an example of cleaning your house, because I hate this. I really I mean, I enjoy when the house is cleaned, but it always feels so overwhelming. And I have found that I have to find those little places of like, I can't think about all of the everything. I have to focus on the floor. I have to focus on the bathrooms. I have to focus on the vacuum cleaner. And as soon as I start with something, then I'm fine. As soon as I like get into it and, then I'm fine. Okay. So that's the routine. I know what works for me. So I don't waste all of this time of like, well, why is this mess here? And like, well, what are we going to do about this? And like, come on, kids, let's get going. And like, getting the dog out over here, and like the cat that goes outside, and this, like shuffling and all of these things where, those are kind of excuses. Those are kind of the things that are, making so my journey into just get it done, Sarah. This is, I found that way that works best for me. I also have identified those things that are the, what do I want to say? The distractions, the procrastinations, the excuses, the whatever. And when I am connected to the worth of the end of the result of it, when I'm connected to, the feeling of how it's going to feel when I sit down on the couch and I'm not watching like, the pet hair dust bunny, whatever, tumbleweeds of whatever come across the floor, and I can pick up the remote without seeing like the dust mark underneath it. When I can focus on what feels good and I know the path, and then I can just get myself going on it. When I feel worth it, it makes it easier. When I feel worth it, where my kids are going to come downstairs and say, my gosh, it smells so nice in here. My gosh, the floor looks so clean, something or other. Someone comes to see me and they see the floor is clean. They see this, that, the other thing. When I'm connected with all of those things that work for me, all those things that motivate me, it helps me be less focused on the things that are connected to the struggle, are connected to the distractions. And a lot of times there's, some guilt involved. We try to motivate ourselves with guilt, like, oh, what happens if so-and-so comes over? Like, or where all of that, we can push that over to the side, and we can find that self-worth, and we can find the thing that works for us to actually be the motivation that comes from a place of love. And I don't even know if I'm like answering the question or the thing that we were going to be talking about, but aligning to the things that work and then letting go of the things that don't work, because usually there's some kind of limiting belief or negative thought or some kind of yuck involved in the other side. So I'm so glad to have some comments. I'm so glad that this resonates with these couple people that have shared their thoughts. I really appreciate that. Anything else anybody wants to add? And I will say that we are going to be talking about this with the group healing session. This is my journey. It just kind of oozes out over into the content that I share, because I feel like I'm not the only one that's probably dealing with the things that I'm dealing with. So I just share them. And so clearing what is in the way of self-value. And that goes a long way into really resonating with being the change that we want to see. So please, stop by try to catch the live stream. That's 9 a.m. on the 12th. Just say, yeah. And I'll make a note that that's what we're going to be talking about. And it's of course going to be available on a replay on the YouTube channel. And I think the Instagram things get stored somewhere, so they'll be over there as well. And great. So I really appreciate everyone being here. We were together for quite a while, a half hour. So thanks for bearing with me with all my talking. And I hope to see you again real soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, thank you. Christina, thank you. All right. Bye now. Have a great night.